Hello everyone, and welcome to the Narcissistic Abuse and Recovery Care Network. I'm Dean, your host, and I'll be taking you on this journey through narcissism and understanding the narcissist. So today we're going to present episode 21, and this episode is going to be all about dissociative identity disorder. Now, dissociative identity disorder is actually a disorder that is loosely related to schizoid disorder, or schizophrenia as some people know it. Except that it has some other things that aren't in common with schizoid disorder. So we'll be discussing this today, and there may be a part 2 to this video, I'm not sure yet, but we're just going to go right into it now. Dissociative identity disorder has an iatrogenic nature to it, and that is to say that the things that cause it are greatly debated within psychology circles. Some of the root causes of it are hypothesized to be the most common thing being childhood trauma of some sort, either abuse of a physical or a sexual nature, or just not being paid attention to when you're a child properly. But some doctors also think that it has, or it can have a socio-traumatic cause, or even be caused by socio-cultural influences. Either way, in psychology circles, dissociative identity disorder is widely debated as to, some doctors don't even think that it really exists. They think that it's a disorder of, that's made up. But other psychologists don't agree with this, and it's becoming more and more widely recognized as of late. Many years ago, when it was first discovered in people, doctors didn't know how to diagnose it. They just diagnosed it as being bipolar disorder because they thought it was like an offshoot of bipolar disorder, but it actually isn't. So as far as dissociative identity disorder goes, there's lots of overlap between D.I.D disorder and bipolar personality disorder. And both of these disorders actually have a lot to do within them with post-traumatic stress disorder, because sufferers of these disorders usually exhibit some type of traumatic stress disorder within those disorders that they have. So, like I said before, the causes of this thing can be what they consider to be socio-traumatic abuse, child abuse. Usually this all takes place before the age of 10. And in some instances, like I was saying before, some psychologists feel that some socio-cultural influence can also come into play, as younger people who develop this disorder may develop into adulthood and experience some adult trauma. So what this basically is when you're dealing with dissociative identity disorder is the child, when they're young, the primary personality that the child has, it develops, and along with that development, if the child is being abused, it develops other safety personalities alongside the primary personality, like this. And this child, when they are abused, they're able to escape within their mind and within their other secondary personalities, or their alters, as we refer to in D.I.D disorder. They're able to escape from that personality into another personality. Very often it's a fantasy type personality, and those personalities, unlike schizoaffective disorder, all exist in a conscious state at the same time. Now, the trauma that causes this, of course, with children, as we've said before, is abuse of all natures. It can be sexual, emotional. It can just be, taking a child and putting them too much on a pedestal and having too much positivity can cause this. Having too much negativity to cause this can cause this as well. There really needs to be a balance, because all these things can actually affect a child in adverse ways. Too much good is not good. Too much bad is not good. Too much You know, too much of anything with a child is not good. And if you couple this with any type of emotional or physical or sexual abuse, it becomes even more problematic if the child is developing and exposed to some type of abuses of these natures. Now, when the child learns these things, or actually acquires these other alter personalities, some of the things that go along with this are the factor that they don't remember a lot of the stuff that's happened to them when they're young children, and they're developing these alter personalities within dissociative identity disorder. So there's amnesia that goes on, there's memory loss, there can commonly be a lot of depressive states that go on with the children that also influence them in those particular ways. And these are all things that affect the development of a person that has dissociative identity disorder. Now, how this differs a little bit is in bipolar personality disorder or schizoid disorders. Often personalities don't know, again, that they coexist with another personality that happens to be within that person. So in schizoid disorders, you can have a person who has a couple of different other personalities. Those personalities exist in the subconscious mind and are only brought forward when the primary personality steps to the side and the secondary personality comes into existence. And this is the way that happens in this. But they do not coexist in the conscious mind in this instance. In dissociative identity disorder, the main personality can be present at the same time as the other personalities are actually present. Like one personality out of a bunch of them that may be in a D.I.D disorder sufferer steps forward and usually takes over from all the other personalities that may be around that person. So that person's main personality is aware that that alter personality is now present, and they've stepped forward to actually take the lead with the person. But that person with D.I.D disorder, their main personality or their normal personality is still there, even though that other personality may have stepped forward. This has occurred because other personalities created in the mind of the abused individual or the child, they were all separated when they were young. And as we grow up, our brain takes these other fantasy personalities that we may have, like our imaginary friends or whatever, and they fuse that all into the same main personality of the person within the brain. Unfortunately, in dissociative identity disorder people, those personalities, they never fuse with the main personality. So they become completely separate. And all of this usually happens with the child before the age of 10. So all these personalities now coexist in a conscious state with the main personality of the individual. You'll have all these other alter personalities, and there can be many of them. I've heard of people having up to 20 personalities when they're a D.I.D. sufferer. And all these personalities now coexist in a conscious state separately, and they can all be accessed at will, or they can come forward on their own with the dissociative identity disorder sufferer when the sufferer feels any type of stress, or if they feel threatened in any way. These alter personalities can pop forward, or they can step forward, and this is basically how that works with a D.I.D. sufferer. So what happens here is you have multiple personalities existing all at once and popping in and out dependent on the stress or other conditions that the D.I.D. sufferer is suffering from. So when threatened, these personalities, they just pop forward to take over. Let's say the D.I.D. sufferer is having a memory of when they were young, when they felt threatened, when they were being abused, perhaps either physically, emotionally, or sexually, or whatever way. and they have a personality that now pops forward, and that personality is a personality or the alter that is the protective person for that D.I.D. sufferer. So now you have that personality forward along with the D.I.D. sufferer's main personality, and they're coexisting at the same time. The problem here when this happens is that when D.I.D. sufferers go into these other alters or other alter personalities, they don't retain memories of this. And this is one of the problems that happens with D.I.D. sufferers sometimes when they're caught in the instance of dealing with multiple people or dealing with multiple people in a relationship. There's a very good example of a woman whose name I can't remember right now, but she has 17 separate personalities. And at one particular point, she was out with a boyfriend that she was seeing and ran into another boyfriend who she was seeing as another one of her alter personalities. And when she saw this boyfriend, of course, freaked out and said, "What are you doing with this man? Why are you holding his hand?" Well, this woman could not remember that she was also involved with this man, because at the moment she was in a different personality than she's usually in with this other man that she sees. And this was her wake-up call to realize that she had D.I.D. disorder, was the fact that she ran into this other man who she was involved with while she was out on a date with this other man that she was involved with in a different personality. And then, of course, from then on, she became aware that she was suffering from dissociative identity disorder, and seeing multiple people and having no memories of who these other people were when she was in the current alter personality. So the D.I.D. sufferer may have no memories, they switch personalities, and they can all be present in the conscious mind, and therefore no memories of things that they do actually get stored within their brains. And this is why they're able to pop in between personalities and pop in between people, and yet they have no memories of this. A good example of this again too is that my own narcissist that I was involved with me, which I now believe she was involved with me under another personality that was part of her own main personality, and she was involved with another male at the same time. And I have, as I've said in many videos before that I've presented on the N.A.R.C.N network, I have proof of this, of myself and this other man seeing her and being intimate with her during those same periods of time. She has no memories of being with us at the same time, and this is because I believe she has been suffering from dissociative identity disorder for most of her life, and this was what goes on. So again, these alter personalities all coexist with this at the same time. Sometimes these personalities even go so far as to exist in cyberspace. Like, for instance, my narcissist seems to have social media pages that seem to present an alter personality on them. I know these pages are hers because I've investigated them with what I've explained before as being my understanding of police investigation and knowledge. But these personalities seem to be other personalities of hers that are in charge of these social media pages, along with her normal social media pages. So all kinds of things can occur within dissociative identity disorder with people like this. The D.I.D. sufferer, they don't remember these things. And just these are things that you have to deal with within the confines of dissociative identity disorder when you're dealing with a D.I.D. sufferer like this. So they don't have any memories of any of these things. They don't have memories of other things they do with other people, including relationships, dating, friendships, whatever. When they're in an alter personality, these are some of the things that actually go on. So this is going to be episode 1 or part 1 of the dissociative identity disorder episode that we're having here. I'm going to be doing a follow-up episode here where I'm going to be demonstrating some text message stuff from dissociative identity disorder sufferers like this, so you can see how they talk to other people and how they ping-pong back and forth in between their identities with people. And you may be able to identify through seeing some of this, some of these text messages, exactly what you may be dealing with your own life, and perhaps a narcissist that you're dealing with may be a dissociative identity disorder sufferer, because Many people who suffer from narcissistic disorder also have dissociative identity disorder as well, or bipolar personality disorder, because all these disorders coexist with each other at the same time very often in many cases of narcissistic disorder sufferers. So I'm just going to leave this here for now. I'm going to bid you all a good day. Hope you guys have a great weekend coming up. And stay tuned for the second part of this D.I.D. disorder episode, where I'll have some more interesting information for you. And going to just say goodbye to you guys and have a great weekend.